can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no handlebars. I can ride my bike with no handlebars, no handlebars, no handlebars. Look at me, hands in the air like it's good to be alive. And I'm a famous rapper even when the paths are all crookedy. I can show you how to do-si-do, I can show you how to scratch a record. I can take apart the remote control and I can almost put it back together. I can tie a knot in a cherry stem, I can tell you about Leif Erikson. I know all the words to De Colores and I'm proud to be an American. Me and my friend saw a platypus, me and my friend made a comic book. And guess how long it took? I can do anything that I want, cause look, I can keep rhythm with no metronome, no metronome, no metronome. And I can see your face on the telephone, on the telephone, on the telephone. Look at me, just called to say that it's good to be alive. In such a small world, I'm all curled up with a book to read. I can make money, open up a thrift store, I can make a living off a magazine. I can design an engine 64 miles to a gallon of gasoline. I can make new antibiotics, I can make computers survive aquatic conditions. I know how to run a business, and I can make you want to buy a product.
Coming out tonight here at the 2013 Vail Film Festival. 10 years we've been doing this. I'm Bill Vassar. I will be your host this weekend, and very, very exciting program for you. We have a very exciting and diverse film program. We have over 40 films. We also have some great events, of course. Our opening night party, which will be going on right after this. Our Friday night concert, our award ceremony, and of course the closing party. The opening night party, sponsored by Chipotle. It starts at 9 o'clock tonight at the Lodge at Vail, and features a Chipotle burrito bar, Stella Artois, of course, very important. If you don't already have tickets to the party, they will be available at the door, so it's not too late. I mentioned there's going to be burritos and beer, right? Okay, good. Very nice. The award ceremony and closing film will take place on Saturday, right here, 6:30 at the Vail Mountain School. We're going to honor Tate Taylor, writer and director of the Academy Award nominated film The Help. Mr. Taylor will be interviewed on stage. Mr. Taylor? No? Okay, I'll tell him you all clap for him, okay? All right. He'll be interviewed on stage by acclaimed actor Allison Janney. We'll also be giving awards to the winning filmmakers in each category. And of course, we encourage everyone to join us in celebrating this year's amazing filmmakers. So the closing night award show is very, very popular here at the festival, and hope all of you can join us. So now I'd like to introduce, of course, the brains and brawn behind this festival. I'll let you guys decide who is who, but we couldn't do this without Sean and Scott Cross.
Welcome to the 10th Annual Vail Film Festival. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited about this 10-year milestone. We've had an amazing experience over the last 10 years. We've screened over 600 films from 40 countries. We've hosted over 2,500 filmmakers, and we've honored some of the most talented actors and directors in the film industry, including Olivia Wilde, Jesse Eisenberg, Kevin Smith, Harold Ramis, and many more. We want to thank the people of Vail for being so supportive and embracing the festival right from the beginning. It's been an amazing experience, and the people in Vail have such a love for the arts and for a passion for film, and that's meant a lot to us over the years. We also want to say a very special thanks to the town of Vail and the Commission on Special Events for all of their support over the last decade. They are instrumental in growing the number and quality of events here in Vail, and they've been vital to the success of the festival. I also want to say a very special thanks to all of our sponsors, especially Cadillac as our presenting sponsor, as well as Chipotle, Stella Artois, and our charity partners, St. Jude and the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. Please give them a round of applause. I also want to thank our staff and volunteers who have supported the festival since the beginning. We have a lot of volunteers who've been with us since year one, which is a pretty amazing accomplishment, that speaks to the community and the support that Scott said that they have, that everyone here has for the arts. And we're just very proud of the 10-year milestone. And as Scott said, very proud of the filmmakers that we've hosted here.
Enterprises with the Colorado Entertainment Showcase. This is the Vail Film Festival 2013 opening night party. Check it out.
When all you know has changed, the promise of a rising sun is all that remains.
Louder! Louder! I don't hear you! Louder!
My name is Jörg Fokeley. I'm one of the directors, the co-director of Keep the Promise, the documentary that we're playing.
I'm Mark Smolowitz, and I've been making films for over 20 years. And we kind of, came together to make films about HIV and AIDS as a labor of love. For us, films about HIV and AIDS are often in front of the LGBT community, and so for us to be world premiering here at Vail, I think is a good boost for us. Get this in front of an audience and the potential for this thing to be seen, nationally.
Every one of us has to answer for ourselves what the promise is that we intend to keep.
We have to keep this promise because this promise is our life, our hope, and our future.
The film is a collaboration between our organization, the HIV Story Project, and AIDS Healthcare Foundation. They provide services for people living with HIV and AIDS around the world. They open clinics, they provide medication, etc. So they have the stories. And we have, we're the guys who know how to make films. So we collaborated with them on this. They provided the story for us. They helped us finance it. And together we made this film to, remind people that HIV and AIDS in this country is fairly treatable and people live long, healthy lives with it. But worldwide, it's still a huge problem. There's still a lot of parts of the world where people are getting infected. And as we know, even in this country, there are still communities where the disease is still pretty rampant.
I do believe that the march is going to make a difference. I believe that there's power in numbers.
We came from everywhere. More than 50 countries.
Hello, Washington!
To let our government officials know that they must keep their promises to fund AIDS research, treatment, and prevention.
We covered a major stage show, which has lots of celebrities, that was basically, a global protest to kind of remind the world about the global AIDS crisis.
Marching on Washington to remind politicians that we vote for them.
The war against AIDS has not been won, and now is not the time to retreat.
I lost so many friends to that disease, and John and Dennis, I'm marching for you today.
The AIDS crisis is not over. We need to keep the promise.
It's a very special small film, so it needs that extra bit of support, that extra bit of handling everywhere we go with it.
I don't care what color, what country, I don't care if you're straight, I don't care if you're gay, lesbian, I don't care if you're bisexual, transgender, we in this together.
Keep the promise, keep the promise, keep the promise.
Visualize these stats in a really kind of powerful motion graphics and animation space with a very talented animator. And I think that what we wanted to do was kind of take these numbers that are kind of overwhelming and just make them clear for audiences. It can be very overwhelming to hear about a lot of death and disease, and it's not easy to sit through, but we try to use the motion graphic space to kind of make them more informative and let people kind of think.
I want to see everybody jump the whole place, the entire place, the whole place.
Like Mark said, we want to put a face on these numbers because, when you hear millions of people are infected or people are dying, it is so abstract. So that's why we have these people from around the globe who are in Washington, D.C., whose stories we hear. And the fact that they are living and thriving, and then when people do get on the medications, the fact that they are living long, healthy lives at this point is very, very encouraging. There's certainly hope in that, and the stigma is obviously still a big thing. And you see people in this film that are fighting the stigma in their communities and that are trying to make a difference by living out in the open about their HIV status, or by supporting people that are in their family or friends that are HIV positive.
Today is the beginning of the rebirth of AIDS activism in this country and across the world.
I'm here with a couple of filmmakers. We're going to talk about what they're showing here at the Vail Film Festival. Please tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Spencer Brudig. I'm a senior at UC Santa Barbara in California. I'm a film and history major, and I'm just about to graduate here in the spring.
I'm Alexander Romanov. I just graduated from UC Santa Barbara with a degree in ecology. And together we made a film combining his film expertise and with a little bit I know about science. It's an environmental short documentary about the Southern California sea otters.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the film, length, the subject, and when it's showcasing here?
Yeah, sure. It's called The No Otter Zone. It's a 16-minute environmental and nature documentary. And it was through a program of UCSB called Blue Horizons. And it's an intensive 9-week course where you go from the inception of the creation of the plot and everything to the final stroke of the keyboard in post-production. And 18 of us were selected, and we broke off into groups. And it's all about combining science and media in order to express and communicate difficult scientific principles to the masses and to people of all ages.
Anything he overlooked there?
Well, I'll just say a few words about the film. Well, historically, the southern sea otter was hunted to near extinction, and they're actually believed to be extinct in California until a group of 50 of them were found in Central California. And from then, all of the otters off of California have been, relatives from that group. When there weren't too many of them, some special interest groups had a no otter zone put in place, which prohibited the endangered sea otter from traveling south of Point Conception, California. There's been a lot of legal battles since then, and just in December of 2012, the no-otter zone was officially repealed by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, so the otters are again inhabiting the waters of Southern California.
Can you tell us why you guys chose the Vail Film Festival to bring your film to?
Oh, absolutely. Mark, you want to take that?
Sure. We actually went to another film festival in Colorado too, and we really loved the crowd. We thought that there were great responses, just thoughtful people that kind of saw both sides of the issue. They saw, of course, our need to protect wild animals, but also that in doing so would take away from, for example, the fishing industry, which the otters heavily impact by eating lots of seafood. So it was a pretty complex issue, and we really loved the responses that we got last time we were here, and hopefully we'll have similar ones again.
We have definitely got a kind ear towards environmental issues in this state. We're very, very aware of how that affects all of us.
My name is James Cox. I'm a student filmmaker here at the festival. I have a film named Gray Matter, based on a Stephen King short story, and it's showing tomorrow.
Now, how did you get the rights to a Stephen King short story? Is that easy to do?
It's not easy, but he does have a program called the Dollar Baby Project, and it's something that you can apply to, and you can get the rights for one of his films for $1.
I know you're better than this. All right, I'm suspending you for 1 week. You have a ride home?
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit about the story?
Absolutely. It's about a father and son. The father is an alcoholic. He's recovering from his war experience. And it's about his son who kind of has to cope with that. But here's the catch. His father's turning into a monster.
Sounds like Stephen King.
Yeah.
King? Yeah. Now, do you know any fun stuff about Stephen King in Colorado? Maybe one of his more famous stories / movies?
Having to do with Colorado, maybe The Shining? Yeah, the Overlook Hotel.
Pretty easy one for you, but I try to throw a few of those questions in. Why did you pick the Vail Film Festival to bring your film to?
Well, I love beautiful Vail, and wanted to hit the slopes maybe, and have a lot of fun.
I know there's like ski lifts, movies. Ski lifts, movies. It's like the hardest thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the movies are going to win.
What do you want?
My dad needs his medicine.
We've been over this.
It's been months.
Isaac.
The VA should have been through his case by now.
They did go through it. They said they couldn't find enough evidence to validate the claim.
Too. Could you, so you've been to Colorado before?
I have. I have family in Fort Collins.
Really? Okay, so you probably know just a little bit about this place.
Not too much. They're my in-laws.
Tell us a little bit.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just need a relief. Something to take away the pain. Dad, you need help.
Let's see. Do you mind if I throw a few softball questions about Colorado out to you?
Just some trivia? Sure, I'll take it.
All right, well, first of all, actually, before the trivia, what do you think of when you think of the state of Colorado?
First and foremost, I do think of powder. Colorado powder. But that's a skier in me.
That is a skier in you. Do you ski around the world a lot?
Not as much as I'd like.
You probably know what a 14er is?
It's the altitude.
There we go. We've got one winner so far.
Oh, what's my prize?
Please. I'm losing everything. I've lost my mom. I've lost my friends. And I know it's all because of me, and I know I deserve whatever you give to me, but please don't make me lose my dad.
Is there any films out here or filmmakers or people that you're interested in running across? Do you know many of the names on the program?
I'm looking forward to finding out. I actually, I do know that there's a movie called The Iceman, which I'm interested in checking out. Hitman, sort of stories always appeal to me. So, yeah.
Well, that's great. Thanks so much for talking to us about your film. I look forward to hearing more about you, and good luck, all right?
Have a good one.
Cool. Hi, I'm Jeremiah here at the Vail Film Festival with another filmmaker, 2013. Would you please tell us your name and a little bit about yourself?
I will. I'm Mira Bank. I'm the director of a film called The Only Real Game. It's a feature documentary, and this is a preview, really. It's you're going to be the first audiences to see it. It officially opens in New York later in May, and it's a film that was shot in Northeast India in what is essentially a war zone, and it's about baseball.
Northeast India.
Yes, on the border with Burma.
Wow, and yet another first showcasing here. I've got to ask you, what made you decide to choose the Vail Film Festival for your first?
I can't remember quite how it happened. Honestly, I can't. I think I looked at festivals that I felt were places that would appreciate a story that dealt with the healing power of sports. And that was certainly one issue for me. And it was, I love Vail. I've come here as a skier many times. And they jumped on it, and I knew the film wasn't going to be finished, and they said, we don't care, we want to show it anyways.
That is amazing. Well, thank you so much for bringing that here to Colorado. You said you've been here before as a skier.
Yes.
Is that pretty much, anything else come to your mind when you think of the state of Colorado?
I've had other films shown here. I've been here on book tours. I've been here as a visitor, as a friend. I have friends who live here. I've driven through the Rockies in the height of the summer in short shorts and walked out in the snow in the mountains. It was great.
I started out today in Denver in shorts.
Yeah, I hear you.
Well, thank you so much for coming to the showcase.
Keep covering the festival.
Oh, we will, and we really appreciate hearing from filmmakers that some of the recurring things we've been hearing from filmmakers, great audiences, great state, great things to do out here in Vail. I think if you're sitting at home this year around, maybe next year, come out to Colorado for a film festival.
Okay, thanks, Mira.
Thanks, Mira. Train kept a-rolling all night long. This is Jeremiah Zintz with the Colorado Entertainment Showcase. We are here at day 2 of the 10th annual Vail Film Festival to speak with some filmmakers about what they're showcasing here at the festival. Things are in full swing today. A lot of films will be making their debut here, including their global debut in front of live audiences. We're going to talk to them about why they chose the Vail Film Festival. Remember to check us out on denveropenmedia.com. Rate us. Let us know what you think about the show. Let us know that you like what we're doing here at Denver Open Media. Thanks again. Stay tuned.
Oh, hi, Anna.
Look at that. That's such a pretty scrunchie.
Thanks.
Anna, I understand you're upset. We need to discuss your severance package.
So, how was your day? How was work?
Fine. Everything is amazing.
I'm sure Robert would love to have children.
Happy anniversary.
When are you going to bring me a bundle of joy? How's everything in life?
You know, to be perfectly honest, things have been a little rough this past.
Summer Slow is about a woman who is sort of stuck in her life. She's stuck in her marriage. She's has some problems with her job, and she ends up getting mixed up in a convenience store robbery and has the option to sort of escape her life by taking the money. And she gets on a bus, heads up north, meets up with an 18-year-old Mormon runaway and a boy, and things take a romantic turn as they break into the summer house that she grew up in as going to as a child.
Sure. I mean, that's the plot, but it's about. But I think some of the themes and some of the ideas we talked about are kind of interesting, and about finding yourself, not running away, but kind of taking an escape from your normal life, what you're used to, and then needing to get away to grow. I think for both characters in a lot of ways there.
The Vail in its 10th year, the Vail Film Festival has really been making a splash We'd heard so many good things about it, and we were certainly absolutely honored to be here. And I think thematically, it really fits in with the film. Our movie is about someone who escapes and goes to a different destination. And I think Vail is a destination that a lot of people escape to for vacations, to take a break on the normal humdrum life that you have. You come to a place like this to refresh, restart, and get break free of the restrictions of a normal day life. So I think it really fits that we're here. And I think thematically in that sense, even though we are an East Coast movie, it happens all over the desire to break free of whatever you're sort of trapped in is so universal, ageless, everything. So be able to come to a festival like this and where that's what happens seems perfect to me.
Along those lines of the idea of Vail being a destination for people to escape, one of the things I like about the film, and I feel like was really rewarding for us that audiences were getting, is that because the character that I play, Anna Thompson, is in her 40s and she meets this boy who's just entering manhood, the way they actually connect when they create this environment that's sort of this alternate reality where they break into this house in the off season, so there's nobody around, so it's almost like they can completely reinvent themselves, and what they connect over is something very childlike, a real sense of play. And there's a really beautiful scene that Jeremy created where they reenact a tea party like you would have as a child, when you go to the bottom of the swimming pool and you would pour tea for each other. So they get under a blanket and they find this connection that even though they're 20 years apart and have nothing in common and share no history, they both had done that as children, and they reenact it. And I think of that as, one of the things when you see these families here, when they're skiing with their kids, is you get to connect with that sense of play. And for us, I know that was something that Jeremy really wanted in the film. And when we see audiences, especially people who are older and have so much more responsibility, see the film and then react to that moment as in, I remember that feeling. It's really rewarding because that's sort of the ultimate goal, is to reconnect with the child in you.
You think I'm homeless?
No, I'm...
No, it's okay. It's fine.
I'm Anna.
Throw your stuff in. Come on. Danny.
It's nice to meet you, Danny. You're a child.
The soul of a man.
What are we doing?
I want you to show me the cottage.
It was my dad's family's place.
There's no one here at all.
The joy in creating a movie and telling a story is that people hear it and watch it. So we want to be screening theatrically, domestically and internationally. We're hoping to share the movie with as many people as possible in this country and internationally. So we are excited about those prospects and opportunities.
You're not from around here, are you?
I'm taking a trip.
Down memory lane?
I saw your driver's license.
Why did you go through my stuff? Why were you snooping? What are you doing here? What is going on with you? Why are you here with me? You have a husband? You have a life? Why are you being so stupid?
You don't know anything about my life!
And you don't know anything about my life either!
When I sat down to write this, movie, it came out very easily. It was something that was it's based on my own experience of breaking free of a life that I was trapped in, or a time in my life that I was trapped in, that I wanted to explore. And I also wanted to pay honor to a relationship that I had been in that had now passed, but I wanted to sort of have it be a positive memory of mine. So I wanted to explore that relationship. I also wanted to take a vacation up to this New England summer home, which is actually in my family's. It's been in my family's for over a century, and I hadn't been in 5 or 6 years. So when I was getting to write about it, I was getting to write about this cottage that I had grown up in, that my dad had grown up in. So it was very personal in getting to explore that, and then the need to tell the story was, when you're starting out, you have to do a lot of generating your own work. So I'd written a couple more commercial screenplays. And I wanted to do something that we could shoot and that we could get together realistically, and it was something that we could get a strong cast behind by really focusing on creating characters that were a little bit juicy and subtle and had layers to them, which is something that you can easily pull a lot of actors from, because there's a lot of actors who are working and they have their success that are on the outside, but they might be playing a lab tech for 10 years on a TV show, and they might want to get to do something a little bit that makes them sweat a little bit more, one of our I had a wonderful comment from one of my actors who works, who was just like, I just loved getting bruised and battered today, and then independent film has that opportunity, I think, to for people to get to break out of their mold a little bit.
Sometimes bad things happen, and people don't have strength to get back on track.
When I read the film, as I have to say that really anyone we shared it with, it read like a beautiful short story or like a little novella or something, and I could see it immediately. And I related, there were two things that I loved about the character. On one side, it was a great opportunity for me because I tend to play very sort of proactive women who kind of really like walk into a room and make a mess and then walk out and leave everybody in their dust. And the fact that Jeremy thought I could play this role was so interesting to me because she's so passive. You know, she's really this woman who's numb and cut off and isn't capable of really making changes in her life, except for this one time when she walks out on her reality. So as a personal challenge, it was great. And so far as it being relatable, I think it's completely related. It just taps into that fantasy that we all have of what if you could just stop the world? What if you could just, you have those moments in your life where maybe sometimes you're like sitting on an airplane or you're in some suspended moment in time, and just for a moment you feel free, just for a second, that your responsibilities are not on your shoulders, and you can't live in that space forever, but to be able to find that moment of liberation from yourself is, something I think that many people can relate to. I can definitely relate to, and I feel like Jeremy really created that. And then what I love so much about the story is at the end everybody needs to go home. Eventually you got to go home and you got to go back and face your responsibilities, but hopefully you take that feeling with you when you return.
I won't be letting you down. No, I know better now.
On any independent film, there's a phrase, it takes a village, and it's never more true than a movie like this. It's a team effort. Everyone is doing everything they can to make sure that the movie gets made. And at the end of the day, it's really about what's on the screen and making sure that you're creating the environment that what does end up on the screen is the best that it can be. Any budget, a big budget blockbuster, you're always going to want more money. That's always going to be an issue. You never have enough. So it's same, just different struggles, different issues. You've got to be a lot more creative in the way that you solve problems. It's really about problem solving in a lot of ways. But I think at the end of the day, it can be a good thing as well. You tend to be more creative, take chances, try different things. Financially, there's maybe not as much at stake, so you're not beholden to the same things you might be with a studio project. And it can be a lot of fun as well. And I think our movie was a really good example of being very creative. We had a really good, strong, tight-knit team, especially the three of us and Michael, who I mentioned before as well. Really believed in the project and wanted to get it made, and it I think shines through very well in the movie.
Pulling you through, I know you're tied to me. Yeah, I know
this is why I'm an actor, is because I believe in collaboration. I believe in storytelling. I could feel in this experience. This is something I mean, it sounds sort of cliche, but I truly believe in. I believe there's a reason we all gather in a movie theater and have an experience that hopefully transforms us and makes us understand the human condition better. And you take a huge risk when you do something like this, and you could fall flat on your face, but life's not worth living unless you take some chances.
This doesn't seem real.
and I'm tied to you.
We've got a couple of filmmakers here. We'd like to talk a little bit to them, a little bit about what they did. Please tell us who you are, a little bit about yourself.
My name is Clint Reynolds. We're both from UCSB. We did a summer program called Blue Horizons, producing a documentary film, ocean-related documentary film.
We got really lucky to get to be part of this program, and we basically got a 9-week crash course in filmmaking. And we were kind of set on our own, and we had to come up with everything from scripts to ideas and editing, and all of that was just up to our 4-man team. And it was a great experience. It's a lot of fun being here.
What's your name?
Oh, my name is Nick Da Silva.
How does it feel to see an audience reaction? Is this one of your first times?
Yeah, we've shown it at a couple other festivals, but it's always great to get the audience response. I think we kind of tried to orient the film in a way that sparks a discussion about it, and we try to keep everything very even, between both sides that we're portraying. And it's always a lot of fun to get the questions afterwards and kind of see how everyone took the film, because no one kind of comes away with it from the same exact ideas.
And what you said you showcased a few times before. Any of a different vibe you get out of the Colorado audience? What do you think about the Vail audience?
Yeah, I think we got a really, the response we got was very, I don't want to say educated, but it just seemed like everyone kind of understood both sides of the issue, which isn't something that we've seen at every festival. We've kind of had a couple festivals where we'll show the film and it'll come out really biased towards one side or the other. And it's always nice to, see that open-ended discussion come out. And I think we got that from our audience. We got a lot of great questions, and everyone seemed honestly concerned with the issues, and that's what we were going for. So.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a blast. All right.
Thanks, man.
Hi, I'm Kevin Margot. I'm a director of Grounded. It's a short film, and it's a science fiction story about a father-son relationship.
Oh, that was a father-son. I've actually seen that film. So yeah, it's pretty deep. There's a lot going on in it. Would you tell us a little bit more about what led you to conceive the story?
Well, it's basically inspired by the death of my father, who passed away about 5 years ago, and what brought me to making this short film. Work was getting a little boring, and I had recently rediscovered photography and picked up the 5D2 and saw that as like an avenue into creating filmmaking and applying to that all these visual effects skills that I have been acquiring over several years. So yeah, the time was right. I had these ideas bouncing around my head regarding my father, and just decided to jump into it. A year later, I finished Grounded. It looks cool. So it looks like you can take the lifts up and then you can kind of essentially ski down to any one of the hotels around here.
Yeah, some people can ski right into their rooms.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I like it. Good mode of transportation.
It's a great. It's a lifestyle that they've built out here. What are some of the first things that come to your mind when you think of Colorado?
Well, the first, I'm from California. I've done a lot of boarding in like Mammoth and everything, and you know they only have the essentially on the slopes. There's just the evergreen trees, and the first thing I noticed here is you got all these aspen trees like around that are like bare, you know, whacking leaves, and that'll be a fun experience to kind of be boarding amongst those tomorrow.
And you can get above the tree line out here too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the term 14er?
I have not. No.
What do you think it would be? It's related to the mountains.
14,000 footer. Yeah. All right.
Yep, there's several of them out here in Colorado, so we kind of like that thing. Are there any firsts that you would like to do while you're out here in Colorado? Something you've never done that you could probably do here?
So, yeah, I've done some boarding, but I'm no expert. But I'd like to try some jumps this weekend. Yeah.
The state of Colorado is actually now trying to incentivize filmmaking out here. They're giving 20% tax breaks, and they're also having loan programs where you can possibly fund up to 20% of your budget through a loan through Colorado. With that in mind, what will it take to you to do your next film out here?
Well, I'm a very visual filmmaker, so when I'm coming up with ideas for films, the environment is a large part of what creates the mood and texture of the piece. So I think it would basically take either me consciously writing something where I could take advantage of the surrounding landscape. Well, that's pretty much it.
We actually have a special guest right here. Would you please tell us your name and what you do?
My name is Eileen O'Brien. I'm the Director of Membership and Volunteers for the Denver Film Society. And we also run the Stars Denver Film Festival, Film on the Rocks. We do all kinds of wonderful things in Denver. But I'm in Vail now, and I'm very excited to be here. This is wonderful.
Could you tell us a little bit about the society, how long it's been around, and its purpose and its goals?
This year, this November will be our 36th year doing the Stars Denver Film Festival. It's an international film festival. It's 11 days long, 11 years, and we show about 300 films. And it's my 7th year working at the Film Society. And the membership, which is what I'm in charge of, is about 3,000 now. It started 36 years ago with maybe like 100, so it's a real exciting time for us. We just also purchased our building on Colfax, the C Film Center. That's the theater right behind the tattered cover and Twist and Shout. So the C's, who are wonderful, wonderful patrons of our organization, helped us purchase that building. So now it's called the C Film Center. So C Films at the C Film Center, and that's a year-round cinematheque that we run, and then we also do the festival in the fall.
So what led you to get involved in the film community? What kind of drove you to this? Was it something you've always wanted to do, or you just sort of jumped into it?
No, my whole career has been real happenstance. I actually was a camera woman in the 70s in television, and then I ended up in New York, and I worked in television in New York. I tell people I will... probably on my tombstone they'll put this no matter what. Held cue cards at Saturday Night Live and Letterman for 8 years in the 80s. And then very, very quirky. I had never been to a film festival in my life, and my husband's work took us to Cannes in the south of France, and I couldn't work because I didn't speak any French, but I had a friend who knew somebody that was working at the Cannes Film Festival, and so I worked there, and he turned out to be a great mentor to me, and so I started doing film festivals in '95, and I've been doing them ever since. So I started at Cannes, I worked at Sundance, and then I was the artistic director at the Savannah Film Festival for 2 years, and then I had been here for 1 year in '99. Denver for 1 year in '99, and I was the manager of operations for the festival, and I fell in love with Denver and Colorado. So my husband and I always tell people I lived on the Riviera, and I came back to Denver because I think Colorado is the most beautiful place in the world, and so that's why I'm in this crazy business.
That's saying a lot, and I've been to Savannah. It's a beautiful city, too.
It is gorgeous. I loved Savannah. I really did. But I really wanted to come back to Colorado. I just think it's the most beautiful place on earth. And this is my first time ever being even in Vail. And so to go to Vail and to also be at a film festival is like my dream come true. It's almost like, and so one of my members, Mary Watson, who's with me, she bought 2 passes and she gave me a pass as a gift. So she gifted me this. It's a great opportunity, and I'm loving it. Opening night film. Did you see the opening night film last night? I think it's the best film I've seen in quite a few years. I still can't stop thinking about it. And I see films all the time, of course, with my job, and I just can't stop thinking about it. I think they did a great job. It was a really amazing film. And we just saw the shorts program, which was wonderful. A nice mix of international Colorado films and also national films. So I'm really excited. This is just great.
So you're usually running festivals. It sounds like today you're just an attendee.
I know, man. It's so fun. I tell people all the time, especially my members, they're always asking me about films and what I think of them. And I say, I'm too busy getting you to films and making sure your experience is good, so I really don't get to see them. So it's really like it's a busman's holiday. I am on vacation. It's just amazing. So I'm just having so much fun. So it's really nice that you wanted to talk to me about it.
I love it.
The 2 guys, Scott and Sean, I love them. They're just adorable. And, like the opening night, they did their little speech, and they're just so humble, and you can tell that they're really into the art of it, and it shows, I know this is their 10th anniversary, right? So I'm very, very psyched. I'm so happy to be here on their 10th anniversary. It's really great.
Now, I know you're really good about showcasing independent films with all the film festivals that you do, but how about actually encouraging people to produce films, especially in Colorado?
Well, it's funny you should say that, because this is going to be our 5th year, and the Denver Film Society produces a program called the Young Filmmakers Workshop, and it's all through the summer, and it teaches 12 to 18-year-olds how to make films in 2 weeks. There's 2-week workshops. 6 years ago, we started with 1 workshop and about 9 students. Now we have about 5 workshops and over 100 students. And while I'm the membership and volunteer director, because I went to school on a scholarship and I would not have ever been anything in my life without it, a couple of years ago, about 3-4 years ago, I got involved, and I'm in charge of the scholarship program, and we scholarship 40% of our students. So we are really proud of the fact we work with the Denver Scholarship Foundation, we work with the Latino organizations. We also, now I think we've got Girls Inc. involved, and we reach out to really deserving serving communities that that children couldn't necessarily afford to take the workshop. So almost half of our students are scholarship. So we have this really diverse group of young people. So that's the part of it. We're mostly an exhibition and theatrical organization, and of course a cultural organization. We're a nonprofit, but this is our educational component and our filmmaking component. So 4 of our students have gone on to use their work at the workshop to get into film schools. One is at Columbia, one is at New York University, one is at out in California, USC. We got great stories of our alumni doing fabulous things. So that's how we contribute to the community right now.
That's super. Well, is there any parting words that you'd like to say about the Vail Film Festival, perhaps, about film in Colorado?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that film in Colorado is so important. Now we have a fabulous new commissioner, Donald Zuckerman, who I think is here. In fact, I know he's here. He's wonderful. He has really brought a lot of attention, and we've gotten new film incentives. You know, having previously been a person who makes media, it's really hard to explain how important it is to the future of a culture that there are artists in that culture doing that work. So as the Film Society, it's essential to us that there's also a filmmaking community. So I am just so excited about the new commission and all the new work that's been done. And then I want to say that this is a really beautiful film festival. It's so enjoyable, and I want to thank the people who put it together because they're making me have a beautiful vacation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was really great.
Thanks again. Signing off. Day 2 of the 10th Annual Vail Film Festival 2013. We've got a filmmaker here we're going to talk a little bit about. Let's go ahead and introduce him. Could you please tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Yep, my name's Kevin and I come from Sydney, Australia. Filmmaker, been doing it for a few years now. This is the first professional short that we did. It's played at a few other film festivals, but this is our first time playing at Vail and my first time in Colorado.
That's wonderful news. First showcase he decided on Vail, Colorado. I'm going to get to that right quick, but first could you tell us about the film, what it is? And
Yep, so the film is called Lichen, and it's just a short 8-minute film. It's a romantic comedy that blends a bit of metaphysics and science fiction into it.
Here. So why did you choose Vail, Colorado for your first American showcase? Or first?
No, not first American, but this is probably the 5th festival that we've played in. But I actually heard about Vail from a previous festival we played in, the Baja Film Festival, which is also run by the Cross Brothers that run Vail Film Festival, and they said, hey, you guys should submit to Vail. So we did, and luckily they still like it, so we got accepted again.
What do you think about the audience here, about the feedback, about the energy here? Was the recommendations, was it right?
Absolutely. It was really great. I mean, having played at a few festivals, you show up to your screenings and there's, a few people and a tumbleweed there. But, here we are, it's, Easter weekend, 11 in the morning, and the cinema was packed out, and then had to do a Q&A, and just the questions that were asked were really thoughtful and in-depth, and you could really get a sense of the passion, and they're all real movie lovers, so it's really great. I'm vibing off that energy.
That's wonderful. wonderful. So your first time in Colorado, your first professional short film. Are you planning on taking it bigger? Are you planning on more shorts in the future, features in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So after this short, we made another one which played at Tropfest, which is one of the world's largest short film festivals. So we were one of the finalists there. It played to 92,000 people in Sydney, played nationally broadcast all over Australia to 2 million people. So that was quite a trip. So I think going off that and, you know, the attention that we're getting with Lycan is just, you know, it's telling us that we're doing something right. So definitely more shorts, and then, you know, I really hope that I might be able to make a jump across the pond, migrate over to, you know, the States and start looking at making features. That's the dream.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Colorado is recently passing incentives to help film production in the state. We've got a 20% tax break, and there's also a loan program you can qualify for, which might fund up to 20% of your feature or any film that you work on. With that in mind, how possible is it that that jump across the pond might involve producing a film out here in Colorado?
Oh, well, with incentives like that, then absolutely. I mean, yeah, we drove in yesterday and I was with another filmmaker, Kevin Margot, who's also got another short in competition. And as we were in the car, we were just marveling at the scenery and just going, yeah, that could be a great film location. That could be a great film location. We were just brainstorming different ideas and genres that we could do. Like this one could be a horror film. This one could be, you know, a great Nazi cave bunker, or, you know, just snowballing ideas. So this is a great place. And coming from Australia, this is like me visiting a movie set, so I'm getting lots of ideas for what I could be doing here.
Well, we're really happy that this place has really got your juices flowing. How are you accommodating to the altitude out here?
I'm really dry and husky. I feel like a zombie. I'm just like drying out, and I'm just downing lots of bottles of water. It takes a bit of getting used to, but yeah.
Well, thinning out your blood's a great idea, so if you don't have a problem, if you're partial to beer, try having a couple of Stellas here. That'll help you out a little bit. I just have a few questions, and this is going to be pretty challenging for you because you're not familiar with Colorado, but there's one fun little thing. First of all, have you heard of Colorado, and what's some of the things that you think of when you hear of Colorado?
When I hear Colorado, I think of South Park. I think of Denver, and whenever I hear Denver, even though I know they're not set in Denver, I think of movies like Fargo, all those like crime movies set in middle America, you know, very, very middle class and suburban. That's what I think of when I think of Denver. I didn't know that it was, you know, such a central hub in terms of the airport, and, you know, it had a train system that's amazing. So yeah, I learned something. Yeah.
Learn a little bit about Colorado, and a little bit more about it too, it sounds like, but I'm glad South Park got out there. Hey, it was a pleasure meeting you, man. Thank you so much for coming out to Colorado. Any parting words you'd like to leave with us?
Just thank you very much for being so friendly and accommodating. It's so nice to, you know, travel all the way out here and, you know, be accepted with open arms, you know, talk to fine folk like you, and yeah, great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks so much for bringing your film out here, man.
This is pretty fun. Hi, I'm Ed from Colorado Entertainment Showcase. I'm having a great time at this festival. There's so many stars, people, the atmosphere is hot. Everybody's so charged for this. If you've never been to a film festival, the one thing you will notice about a film festival is the energy, the excitement. everybody's here releasing their films to the public. These are small people who haven't made big films. You know, these are people on small budgets doing their best to produce quality product for people to watch their stories. There's nothing better than an independent filmmaker, director, producer, actor doing what they love. Because when you're a part of something like this, money doesn't matter.
Hey everybody, this is Jeremiah Zins with the Colorado Entertainment Showcase. We are live at the 10th annual Vail Film Festival with none other than Scott and Sean Cross. Guys, could you please tell us a little bit about yourselves, about what brought you to doing what you're doing with the festival?
Sure. Well, I'm Scott and this is Sean. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference. We're filmmakers and we've always loved skiing. We've been coming out to Vail for about 15 years. About 12 years ago, we decided this would be a really great place to have a film festival. It's such a beautiful location. It's a world-class resort set up in the mountains like Sundance is. And we wanted a place where filmmakers could really communicate with each other in an intimate way and get to know each other in a beautiful environment. So we approached the town of Vail and Vail Resorts and pitched them this idea, and they loved it. And the festival took off from there, and it's been an amazing 10 years.
Wonderful. Do you have anything to say about it?
No, I think, we're just, it's growing far beyond our expectations, which is really exciting for us. And probably the most exciting factor for us is the way it's been embraced by filmmakers. I mean, we get so much positive feedback from filmmakers from the U.S. and beyond. So that's probably the biggest achievement for us.
Is that a surprise when it came to picking here? Because you picked here not really with the idea of what kind of crowd comes here, but the feedback that I'm getting from the filmmakers, more than the beauty of the area, more than the ski resort, is the energy that they get and the engagement they get from attendance here. Is that a surprise to you, or did you guys, what do you think?
I think it is surprising. I mean, I think, first of all, we thought it would take a couple of years to build and start out as a regional film festival, and if we were fortunate enough, it would become a national film festival. But we didn't expect so quickly to become an international festival. And over the last 10 years, We've screened over 600 films from 40 countries. So it's an incredible experience, and I think that Vail itself and the festival, because of the nature of the intimacy, has allowed people to filmmakers to connect with each other, and they take that back home, whether it's in Europe or anywhere in the U.S., and they'll talk about what an amazing festival it is and what an opportunity they get to meet experienced filmmakers. So we're very proud of that fact.
That's wonderful. Anything you wanted to touch on that?
No, I think a lot of the festivals like Sundance and Tribeca have there's the velvet rope issue where it's really tough for aspiring filmmakers to actually interact with established filmmakers, and for even film fans to kind of talk to the filmmakers. And so that's one of the things we strive for, is to have just an open environment where it's really just a community of people who love film.
My name is Donald Zuckerman. I'm director of the Colorado Office of Film, Television, and Media. Well, I came here to Colorado in May of 2011, and I had been appointed by the governor to be the new film commissioner, and I was asked to help fashion incentives to bring filmmakers to Colorado, because basically no one from out of state was coming here at all. No one had come here in the last 4 years at that time. And we fashioned an incentive plan, and we got together with members of the legislature, bipartisan, both Democrat and Republican, and we got some great sponsorship by those legislators, and the law was passed. And the law took place July 1st of this past year, and we now have a rebate, and we also have a loan guarantee program, which together make it fairly attractive to come here. Well, my role has changed to salesman, basically, where I've been trying to get the message out in LA, in New York, in London, in various places where decisions are usually made on where to film, because as you probably are aware, once a film is going to be financed, especially if it's an independent film, usually the producers and the director get together and they start to talk about where they can go. So usually the director will have a place that the director really wants to go, but if there isn't what's called soft money, or money from a state or a government, usually the director doesn't get to go there. So for instance, when I first got to Colorado, people said, "Oh, come on, we have everything here. We have mountains." Well, you can go to Alberta and they have mountains too, and you can get a rebate by both the provincial government and the federal government. And you can go to Utah and they have mountains, and you can get a 25% rebate. So, and Georgia has a 30% rebate. So there are a lot of places that have mountains, but filmmaking today, it's very hard to cobble together the money to make an independent film, and get the extra money that one gets from a state or a government is usually can be the difference between even making the movie, but certainly can make a huge qualitative difference in the movie. Well, we had $4 million to begin the year, and it's all gone. It started out first with some really interesting reality television, but then moved into independent film or movies, and the movies haven't been made yet, but they're just in the beginning of pre-production. So, for instance, there's a movie called Dear Eleanor. It takes place in 1962. It's a coming-of-age story. Two teenage girls from the Central Valley in California make the journey cross-country to meet with Eleanor Roosevelt. And what's great about it is it takes advantage not only of our rebate, but also of our diverse geography. Because if you were driving cross-country, first you'd cross a desert, then you'd come into the mountains, then you'd come to the plains, etc. And what's interesting also about Dear Eleanor is it's being produced by Appian Way, which is Leonardo DiCaprio's company, and the director is Kevin Connolly, who is one of the stars of Entourage. I kind of blundered into film. I had been a lawyer in New York. I had been in the music business. I had been a concert promoter in New York, a music manager. So I had a very successful nightclub in New York, which was probably the first karaoke nightclub in America. And I opened it in 1987 when nobody ever heard of karaoke. And I was going to open a clone in LA. I went to LA to do that, had a space, was working with an architect, but I was getting, the police department was basically trying to control what it was going to be. So I decided not to do it, and I was going to leave LA and move back to New York. And a couple friends said to me, well, why don't you become a producer? And I said, well, what does a producer do? And they said, well, kind of what you do. So I decided to produce, and I was fortunate enough to produce about 20 movies and 4 docs, feature-length docs, and a number of them, I think 7 in all, I did with a fellow named George Hickenlooper. My first, my second, my fourth, sixth, and George was John Hickenlooper's cousin. So when we were making a movie in the year 2000 called The Man from Elysian Fields, George said to me, hey, you know, my cousin owns a bunch of brew pubs in Denver, and he's going to come here to LA, and he's going to be an extra in our movie. So I said, oh, okay, fine, it's up to you. Anyway, that's where I met John, and then during the Democratic National Convention, George directed and I produced a television series about John Hickenlooper called Hicktown. And then John was also in Casino Jack, which was a movie I was an executive producer of. So we had a history, and he knew I understood how film finance and how to get a movie made, and that I had a pretty good Rolodex. So he invited me here, and it was perfect because my wife and I, at the time, had a 2-year-old daughter, and we thought, you know, it would be great to bring a kid up in Denver or Colorado rather than bring a kid up in West Hollywood. So here we are. So the future. I would like to see this program grow, and I would like to see Colorado become a preeminent place for making movies. And I think we have a shot of doing that. Of course, what it really takes is convincing the legislature that we have to spend some money to get people here. Now, one of the things we've done is we've created a plan where we actually can actually cost the taxpayers less money than it costs in New Mexico or Utah, where they have a 25% rebate, because ours is 20%. However, we can actually get the producer more money up front. It's kind of complicated, and I'm not going to go into it right now, but it's by combining the rebate with the loan guarantee program. And a lot of what happens in the future is going to depend on the legislature. The governor is in support of slow growth. I mean, he's cautious, and I can understand why. I mean, they wanted to see that it worked in the first year, and now I believe his administration is convinced that it works. So we have to see where it goes in this legislative session. We will get some funding, but I'm not sure exactly how much yet. And then I'd like to see a steady growth for the next few years, and as long as John Hickenlooper is governor, I'd like to be here. Well, the people are represented by their representatives in the legislature, and when the representatives know that the people want this incentive plan and want people to come here and shoot in Colorado, they will hopefully let their legislators know, and the legislature will allocate money. Last year, we passed in both houses by a two-thirds majority, and that doesn't happen all that often. And there are other ancillary benefits aside from the most important thing. This is a jobs creation bill. We have talented people here who work in the industry and who want to work in the industry, who can benefit with immediate jobs, but there's also a tremendous opportunity for tourism and branding in Colorado. For instance, if Caribou Records is successful, people will want to come and see where all these recordings took place. If Dear Eleanor is a good movie, which I have every reason to believe it will be, people will want to come and see where it was shot. Just anecdotally, a couple things. The Shining was written at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, and over 100,000 people a year pay to go on their ghost tour. And those are 100,000 people who come to Estes Park, who buy gasoline there, they stop in the convenience store, they stay in a bed and breakfast, they stay at the Stanley Hotel, they eat lunch, breakfast, dinner, have a drink, whatever. They spend money, and it's a huge economic driver. And another little anecdote that I think is interesting is the Lone Ranger shot in Creed this past late spring. Actually, they shot in June, and they left. Yet in July, August, and September, sales tax collections went up 24.7% over the same 3-month period the previous year, even though the crew was gone. So just the word getting out there that the Lone Ranger went there, chose it as a place to shoot, meant that people said, well, I want to see what's there. And they went. And the movie isn't even out yet. And next year when the movie's out, it's going to be huge for Creed. Going to be tremendous for Creed. What's great about Colorado is we have every single vista one can imagine but an ocean. And we have some really good CGI guys who can create an ocean. We have 1,100 full-time film students in our major film schools here. We have many other talented filmmakers here. We have a very active crew base with great locations, and we can do it all here. We just need to let people know, get the word out, and get people to show up and come, and I think they'll be happy and they'll be satisfied.
10th Annual Vail Film Festival Awards Ceremony. We hope you've had a blast up here watching films this weekend, yeah? I think we planned the weather accordingly. You can get some skiing in, you can get some movie watching in, you're not stranded here, so that's nice. We're very honored and proud to have screened all the films that we did this year. We had over 1,000 film submissions, and of course we had to get that down to 42 available slots. So definitely the cream of the crop this year. So to all the filmmakers in the audience, thank you for sharing your films with us. So I'm going to be your host this evening. My name is Bill Levasseur, and I've been with you guys for the past 10 years. A lot of familiar faces out there. And I'm going to introduce a couple of guys that you've probably heard of, probably haven't seen around too much, but they're the festival directors here. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Scott and Sean Cross.
Thanks for coming out. I want to thank everyone for being here. A very special year for us, 10th anniversary. And I want to just take a moment to thank those that have helped make the festival possible over the last decade. On behalf of Associate Festival Director Megan Musgates, Scott, and myself, I'd like to say a very special thanks to our board members, Pamela Lessing, Judith Landau, Troy Holler, and also Kay Ferry and Lou and Sam Maslak for all of their support. And to our staff, many of whom have taken this 10-year journey with us. Stephen Douglas, Aaron Riley Strong, Dave Strong, Krista Amarato, Bill Levasseur, Jessica Hallstrom, Jordan Hall, Mark Griffin, Amanda Durst, Ryan Gallagher, Michael Howard, Vadim Elkind, Aaron Shepard, James Rohn, Anna Fink, Paul Musgates, Peg Musgates, Christina Schmidt, almost done, Tony Castle, Roxy Hunt, Emily Waldeck, Corrine Hara, Ashley Blair, Ashley Sneed, James St. Vincent, and Dave Weepy and his team. They do all our tech, so they're the team that makes the festival run, so in terms of all the screenings. And I also want to thank Kelvin Media and the Messias Media Group, and all of the volunteers who have supported the festival over the last decade. We couldn't do it without you. We also want to thank our sponsors who share our vision to promote and celebrate independent film. A very special thanks to our presenting sponsor Cadillac and Aaron Madden, as well as Chipotle and Kelly Smith, Stella Artois, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, and Terry Ford, and the St. Jude Children's Hospital. We also want to thank Jason Feltz and Renee Regal of Virgin Produced. We are very happy to have a global partnership with Virgin and with Sir Richard Branson that covers not only the Vail Film Festival, but also the Baja Film Festival. And above all, we want to thank the filmmakers. We appreciate the passion and dedication it takes to make a film, and we're just so happy that you bring your films here every year, so thank you.
Did we miss anybody? We named everybody out here. That's good. All right. So, let the show begin here. Our first award is Best Student Film, and the student film programmer Jordan Hall will present that award.
I love making everyone adjust the mic to my standards after. Student films are just a hoot, they really are. I screen hundreds of them over the past 10 years. I've screened hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. Many of them terrible, but I show the best ones to you guys. And this year we had an incredible variety: comedy, animation, horror, documentary. If anybody gets a chance to see them, they're wonderful. I believe they're screening tomorrow morning, is that right? 10 a.m., 11 a.m., right in the morning? Yes, thank you. Go check them out. There's some incredible variety. The esteemed panel of jurors have selected as the best student film for 2013 goes to Gray Matter. James Cox. James Cox, come on down. Come on down, James.
surprised. But I'd like to thank my wife who's here with me tonight. I'd like to thank my producer, Andy Hamamoto Kowal. She was an integral part of the team. My cast and crew, of course, all fantastic. Stephen King, if you don't know, it's based on his story, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for him writing it back in 1968. So, yeah, thank you to the Vail Film Festival, of course, and thank you all for being here.
Now I'd like to introduce Chief of Global Advocacy with the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, Terry Ford.
Thank you, everybody. Well, we're really happy to be here. I first want to start off by thanking a couple of the three people that actually made this happen. Trish Moran hooked me up with Carl and Hillary, who convinced me over a cocktail that AHF needed to be a sponsor of this film festival. So, very convincing, and I thank them. We have had a great experience here. We've screened our documentary, Keep the Promise, twice, last night and this morning, to really great audiences and great Q&A panel discussions. We're really happy with that. We have our film directors here, Mark and York from the HIV Story Project. Did a great job. If you haven't had a chance to see Keep the Promise, the global fight on AIDS, keep your eye out for it because it's going to be in distribution. How many people here got to a chance to get to the oxygen bar in the hospitality lounge? All right. That was a success. I'm going to get the list to my house. But I'm actually not here tonight to talk about our film, I'm talking about another film. In promoting getting the message out for Keep the Promise, we decided to tap into social media, which everybody knows how important that is, and do a film contest. We put it out with a wide, scope on Keep the Promise on AIDS. And we got some good entries, but we picked one that was unique and had a unique voice in it. And it's hard to, you're going to show it here. And that is from Sean Decker, who's here with us tonight with his wife, Gwen. Where are you, Sean? Sean and his wife, Gwen, educate together about HIV. Sean has just completed a screenplay about being diagnosed with HIV as a kid entitled My Pet Virus, based on his critically acclaimed memoir. Please welcome My Life in 60 Seconds by Sean Decker.
When I was 11, I loved playing video games. I started to like music and noticed girls more too. I had supportive parents, and I felt like I could grow up and be anything. Then things turned upside down. I was told I had HIV. I worried that I may never grow up at all. That was 26 years ago. Today, I'm an HIV educator, a writer, and a musician. I've been with my loving partner Gwen for over 10 years. She's HIV negative. We have a healthy relationship that's filled with laughter. My name is Sean. I'm HIV positive, and I still have a promising future. Gwen and I believe that everyone with HIV deserves the same, and it's only possible if we keep the promise on AIDS.
Stand up. We want to see you. Sit back down. It's my turn. Okay. Now the award for Best Adventure Film is going to be presented by film programmer Megan Hughesgate.
So I get to give the award for Best Adventure, and obviously we're in Vail, and so the adventure films here are huge. And a lot of people you see on the mountain could probably be in some of these films. So the winner this year of Best Adventure is Where the Trail Ends. They weren't able to make it, so I will send them their award.
presenting the award for the screenplay winners, our very own Tony Castle.
I think it's really cool that Vail Film Festival does the Screenplay Award winners, because these screenwriters get to have their scripts read aloud, which I think is so important, to hear the words off the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, for dramatic effect, read the third place, then the second place, and then the first place winner, and we'll have the first place winner come up and accept the award. I'm doing short and feature, so let's start with short first. That was feature. Third place, Red Flags by Sandra Bowes. Second place is Let Me Tell You by Christopher King. And first place, who gets to go home with the trophy, is Pamahican by Angelo Santos. Okay, they're not here. And I probably didn't say Pamahican or Pamahican right, so that's a good thing. Feature film. Third place is Last Waltz of Vienna by Brian Weekland. Second place is Cell Block 9 by Justin Powell. And the first place award goes to I Hate Your Kids by Benjamin Fingerhut.
Thank you very much. I was given some sage advice earlier, about 6 minutes ago, that nobody's going to remember anything I say except if I forget to thank my wife. So I'm here to thank my wife and thank everyone, and thanks to the Vail Film Festival. Like you said, it's great to hear your words written, that you wrote out, acted out in front of you, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank you all so much, and this festival is just fantastic. The location, the people, it's truly an honor being here and being presented this, and especially being presented with this by Allison, who has, as she said, has been with me every step of the way. I mean, she was in everything I did because she did it for free, and she's extremely talented. And honestly, near the end there, before the help became what it was, she lent me $10,000 just so I could keep writing. It got that bad. I mean, I was broke. And I paid her back in $1 bills and shoe boxes. And she poured them all over herself and goes, "No one's ever paid me back. No one's ever paid me back." So that felt good. Usually don't get paid back. But I started thinking about what I wanted to say today, and I didn't really want to talk about the help. I just kept thinking about festivals and my journey and what I've learned from it. And I thought back to my first festival I ever went to was Sundance. And I was from Mississippi, and it just seemed like a million miles away, the possibility of even being anything, a part of any of that. It just seemed too hard. And so I didn't have a family of entertainers. My dad sold women's clothing, and my mom was a bankruptcy trustee. That's not very creative. And I didn't have any confidence, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew I kind of wanted to be out there and stick my toe in it. So I thought about you guys, any of you who are like I was, and I came up with 4 words that came to mind about my path and what the advice I try to give people, and it's risk, action, diversity, and short film. It's kind of 5 words, but we'll call that 4. They all came together in a really funny way for me. I moved to LA, and as Allison said, I thought I would try acting, and I loved acting class, but I wasn't getting any roles. If you may have noticed, I have an accent, and I don't even hear it, so that didn't work out too well. And I was taking class, and I was looking at my friends, and they weren't getting roles, and I noticed something, that they weren't really doing anything about it. And I realized they lacked action, and action is so important to any business, anything you want to do. Action is everything. I mean, how many of you know someone right now who is about to start writing a movie, has this book, they're thinking about writing, they're about to be a musician? Then ask yourself, how long have they been saying that? And is that you? You gotta have action and not just talk. So that's my second word. And as I said, I was not getting roles, but I was in the Groundlings program. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a sketch comedy improv troupe, like Will Ferrell's from there. And it's really a great place to go and learn improv. Did Reader's Digest type? I already lost my spot. Hold on. Anyway, so I did the levels 1 and 2, which is improv. It's a lot of fun. And then we came to level 3, which in the Groundlings is writing. And I almost quit because the idea of writing sounded awful. I mean, honestly, I probably maybe bought a couple of papers in college. I did not like the idea of writing. And I thought I would hate it, but then I thought about diversity and how nothing was happening with acting, so why not give it a shot? So I started writing level 3, and I sat down to write my first sketch, which by definition are usually 3 or 4 minutes, which is 3 or 4 pages, and I sat down that first night and I wrote for 6 straight hours and wrote a 50-page sketch, which is not a sketch. And I continued to do this, and I got into level 4 of the Groundlings, and Melissa McCarthy was in my class. How fun is that? And I found myself, you know, the Groundlings, you're supposed to promote yourself as a performer. That's why you come up with these characters. And I was writing these sketches and casting everybody in my class in it but myself. And they were going, why are you paying money to do this? And I go, this is so much fun. And that's when I realized, oh shit, I guess I'm not gonna be an actor? And I didn't know what to do about that. And so finally, I was like, I'm screwed. I don't know what to do, and I gotta find a way to make a living. So that's when I come to the fourth word or fifth word is short film. And Amanda, I told you about this earlier. I realized in order to know, I had to make a short film. And like Allison said, she was in it, I came up with it, I wrote it. And I wrote it and I did it mainly so I could see which of the 3 things I liked the most. And I made the short, and I'll tell you, for those of you who've ever thought about making a short, I really mean this. It's as much of a journey into yourself, into your potential future, than it is making a piece of entertainment. Really what I base my whole career on is making that short. It changed everything. And then I knew I liked to act, but I knew it was third on my list. So I was trying to figure out what's first, writing or directing. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I think that's called a filmmaker. So it was a filmmaker, then acting. And I challenge each of you in this room. I mean, I was 26 when I moved to LA. I'd sold jet fuel in Memphis, Tennessee before that. Showed up at 26, Octavia Spencer followed me in her beat-up car. Together we went. But it's not too late, and I just tell you, in my unsolicited opinion to you guys, you're really not going to know your true path or self until you make a short film. That's my unsolicited advice. Thank you so much to Vail for bringing me here and giving me this very humbling and much appreciated award. Thank you so much.
Does anybody have a question they want to ask Tate? Does anybody have anything? I can't ask him something. I mean, I can't pull something up. What is your, yeah? Did I hear something? Have a question? Well, all right. Tell me why you picked Greenwood, Mississippi. Why such a small town, and why did you choose to film The Help there?
Much like Catherine getting 60 rejection letters, even though I had written a screenplay people liked, and the book was huge, for about a year, nobody would give me the money to make it. They were waiting for me to give up or cave and sell it. So I said, screw it, I'm making an indie. So John Norris, who's out here, my producing partner. My other producing partner, John Brunson Green. I said, I know where this movie's got to be. It's got to be in Greenwood, Mississippi. I grew up going there. Skeeter's house. I grew up staying there in college and threw up in that house on weekends. And Celia's house, I used to hunt on that land. So we went there, and I knew that Mississippi was such a huge character in the health. You just can't go to Canada or Texas. There's something about Mississippi that is so specific.
It is. It's like another country. It's the only state. The only state I've been in this country that is unlike anything I've ever been to.
So that's why.
And it was the most. I mean, Tate Taylor knows how to have fun on the set. He knows how to. There were some opinionated women he had to work with on the set. I mean, let's talk about that.
Periods in pantyhose at 180 degrees every day.
I know. Talk about what it was like working with women like Sissy Spacek and Cicely Tyson coming. I mean, and Viola Davis and having to collaborate with them, which you did on the set. I would see you sort of take them in as an actor and know how to talk with them and collaborate on, like, talk about some, just talk.
Okay. If we go back to my speech, I talked about diversity, and I really think the fact that being a filmmaker director, that you have acting experience and you keep that up, it gives you a very rare shorthand and creates trust with other actors because they know you've been where they are and they know you know how crappy it can feel, and it's just a bond you have. And I think that
it's been every woman that you worked with, every one of these women, everyone in that movie would kill to work with him again, and that's the kind of extraordinary, I think.
You're not in James Brown. It's not going to work. Sorry. I'll get in trouble.
Come on. There's got to be something.
No, it was great. I love collaboration. I really do. I think people who, the biggest mistake you can make is you know everything, and whatever, so anybody giving you advice or a suggestion is wasting your time. There's no bad ideas when you make it.
How about this question? What was the high-low of making, that's my favorite question to ask anybody when they've done anything. What's the high-low? What was the highest part and the lowest part of doing that whole, making that film?
I think really the highest part was the last day. When we went to this small town, and just the group effort, it still doesn't happen like this often, but just knowing that everybody left everything they had on the Delta soil, and we were, first of all, everybody called me going, why are you making us go to Mississippi? Really, in August? They didn't want to come. My British DP in Berkeley was bitching and screaming the whole way there, but the last day, nobody wanted to leave. And as a Mississippian, I mean, we have our flaws, historically. It felt good to have people not want to leave and to have created this environment where people came together and fell in love with each other. That was my high. My low? I think the lowest point was I had to really fight to have Aibileen in the movie have a gold tooth. And there was a lot of these battles I had to fight. I had a responsibility to these women and to my state and to history to not whitewash it down and make things less uncomfortable. And there was a big battle about, they did not want Viola Davis to have a gold tooth. And it was scary, but I said, well, then we're not shooting.
Yeah.
And then the studio called Spielberg in a panic. And he goes, how's it gold tooth? So it was kind of a low high.
And in your next film that you write, we're not talking about James Brown, but will you be writing a role that will win me an Oscar?
Yes, of course.
Now I would like you to dance across the stage in a way that will be entertaining.
Of course.
Does anybody have anything they want to say? Oh, yes, please, thank you.
As a young filmmaker, it's definitely, Hollywood is such a big, scary place, and I feel like anyone who's been successful has had a mentor. Who are the mentors in your life?
Good question. Who are the mentors in your life, Tate Taylor?
I guess really I can sum it up to some movies that made me want, I mean, I don't know them, but the Coen brothers. But it's really funny, the movie that really made me want to do this, everybody's got one. And it's not always the most critically acclaimed, but it was the Blues Brothers. I was in Mississippi watching this movie, and I'd grown up with all this, you know, boring stuff, you know, my parents took us to, and I'm like, Princess Leia's got a flamethrower? This gay Nazi's driving off a bridge, and then all of a sudden he's 30,000 feet in the air. They're driving through malls. I want to do this. I didn't know they were all on cocaine for 6 months. But it's stuff like that, and Raising Arizona, and just all that. You know, we're all odd, and I was in Mississippi, and I go, you can get paid to be weird. So I think it's all those films. I didn't really have a mentor, really, so to speak, at all. I just was stubborn and just wanted to do it. And that whole adage, if you don't quit, no one can say you failed, is ingrained in me. So I think it's, you know, I'm stubborn.
It's the movies.
It's the movies, yeah.
Anything else? Yes.
First of all, thank you both for taking the time and effort to be a part of this. We all appreciate it. So thank you. I know it's kind of like an ambiguous question, but if you can, what's the main philosophical message you're trying to put into the world with your art?
I'm gonna need a margarita. Oh, good. He's
Just had one.
Well, I can tell you what I respond to. Like in The Help and even my short film, it's the power of forging unlikely friendships with people that you normally wouldn't pee on if they were on fire. And it's hard, but in the end, those are often the most amazing relationships in the world. And that's what I always keep finding in my films that I gravitate towards. I'm looking for that bond that is not usually possible for these two people to end up together. Whether that's a friendship or just, that's why I love Altman too, his movies. I just love all that. I love humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Beat that.
I'm not answering. This is about you.
Oh, you're just an actor for hire?
I'm just
Okay.
the moderator, whatever.
That's good
Okay,
press,
well, I
so-
guess we can, yes.
So, the jump from a short film to now, I don't know if you purchased the rights to The Help, can you kind of discuss, because that's a big leap, and we didn't discuss that sort of space. Can you talk a little about what happened?
Well, that goes back to risk and going for it. No, my friend Catherine and I have been buddies since we were 5. I mean, like really best friends. We were both our moms were Celia's. They had colorful pasts, and the junior league women of Jackson were not interested. So we had single moms who were working, and we were, you know, we grew up, and we had these wonderful African American women who were in our lives, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. So Catherine was writing this book, and I was falling on my face in LA forever, and she'd been writing this book for 5 years, and she got rejected and rejected and rejected, and she wouldn't let me read it because we were really honest with each other, so she figured it was crap because it kept getting rejected. And so finally, we were having lunch in New York, and she was, okay, you can read it. So I got on the plane, and somewhere over Ohio, I was just, I mean, I've only had this happen once before. I'll save that story for another time. And I was like, oh my God, I know this. These people are so stupid. And that's a good lesson about rejection. Nobody knows shit. They don't. And so I got to LA, and I called her up, and I said, Catherine, I have to make this. And she's like, oh, you're sweet. Is it really good? And I said, yes, and let me have the rights, and you know what? I'm gonna make an indie, and maybe if that indie's good, your book will sell. Well, that business model quickly flipped. So I got the rights from her. I'm talking about loyalty. Everybody told her, what are you doing? Her husband, they're divorced now. Her family, saying, what are you doing? Don't give it to Tate. And she's finally was like, but I know he knows this. So I got the rights before she even had a publisher. I got the rights. Then she just got an agent. So I was already adapting. Then she got a publisher. I got the rights in May of 2008. The book did not even hit the shelves until February 2009. So I thought I was adapting my friend's unpublishable manuscript. So then it came out, it became what it was, and they all wanted me dead. So I just had to wait and wait.
She said Catherine, she wanted him to do it.
Yeah.
She stuck by him like, I mean, that is the best.
And then finally, Spielberg read my adaptation, and being a filmmaker, he called Stacy Snyder, the studio head, and she goes, look, I read that book, I love his adaptation. If he can write that, he's already directed it. So he said, let's do it. And it worked out.
I think that unless we have any more, we should say goodbye to Tay-Tay.
Thank you. We'll be taking a poll about whether she should be in James Brown.
Yes! No, thank you all.
Thank you so much.
That is an awesome way to end our awards ceremony here in our 10th year. Thank you very much. Stick around though, we do have our closing night film, our winning film, Drinking Buddies, sponsored by K-Ferry. And yeah, after that we have a big party. I invite all of you to be my drinking buddy. The first round of Stella is on me. But we're gonna start 8 o'clock right here, closing night film, and then we'll see you at the Four Seasons. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, this is Jeremiah Zins with the Colorado Entertainment Showcase. You guys might remember we've spoke with James Cox before, director of Gray Matter, and guess what? Here at awards night, he won Best Student Film. So James, you know, you had a lot of time to say thanks on stage. I bet a million things run through your head when you're out of there. Is there any follow-up thanks you want to, any other shouts you want to give out there?
I forgot to thank my parents, of course. Very important, always good. They always encouraged me. They're not artists, so I'm sure that's kind of a brave thing for a parent to do, is encourage them to go into the arts. But yeah, no, always have to thank my parents and my wife, who's right over here.
Big thanks to the parents and the wife. What do you think? Based on the Q&As and the feelings you got from everyone at the festival, what do you think caused yours to win? What are the things you noticed from it? What do you think they picked up on and they really liked about it?
I can only thank them for just, you know, really, the recognition is amazing. There was a lot of great films that we were shown with. No Water Zone was a fantastic documentary. I highly recommend you seek it out. It's just, we were in a great program. I was just the lucky one, I guess. I don't know. It was a very special thing for them to recognize us.
Such a humble guy. We'll see how long that happens if he makes it in Hollywood. So anyway.
Yeah, just wait. Next year.
Are you pretty buzzed? Are you ready to do a new one? Are you ready to keep this doing it? Keep going?
Yeah, no, I'm very excited right now. I'm in the midst of writing a feature for, it's actually a sequel to a film that was released this year on DVD, Mimesis. I'm writing the sequel, so very excited to see how that goes, and hopefully a bright future.
Awesome. Any parting words for us? Any parting words about filmmaking?
Come to Vail. It's a lot of fun.
You heard it on the Colorado Entertainment Showcase. A lot of people are feeling that. Come to Vail. Come on out here, 2014. Yeah. Dude, I hope we see you in 2014.
Hey, I'll be there.
All right, man. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Party with you later. I'm here with Benjamin
Fingerhuts.
He won the screenplay. What do you think? Was this a surprise to you?
It was a surprise, although today they let us know a month ago that we won, so they were counting down the top 3, and I was like, I think I got it. But it's definitely an honor, and I've never been part of an awards ceremony where famous people are saying things, so it was fun. It was fun.
That's got to be great. This was just a screenplay. Do you think there's going to be a better chance of getting some funding for it and actually seeing it on film?
We'll see. I've talked to a few people that have expressed interest, and we'll see. It's a journey, and it's difficult to do. So we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully.
Have you been writing? I mean, this isn't the first for you, I'm hoping.
No, this is not. This is the third feature screenplay, but I've done a bunch of shorts, and I made a documentary 2 years ago that I spent a long time on, and now I've sort of refocused. Ironically, the title's "I Hate Your Kids," and I wrote it right when I have a newborn child, and I don't think he should know about that in the future, but I forgot what my point was, but
your point is that you might go by a ghostwriter name when it's released.
No, what I'm saying. Oh yeah. No, my point is I just wanted to write and lock myself in a basement in my underwear and write and not like worry about financing and that such. So maybe in the future, but for now, this was a nice little exercise of just writing.
It sounds like it's a good formula. You might want to stick with it. You know, we're going to go with it.
Yeah.
Listen, Colorado's trying to incentivize film production out here. Tax breaks, funding.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on writing something that could be shot out here in Colorado?
I typically write I've only written 3 screenplays, like I said, and it's all very Midwestern because I'm Midwestern, but I'm from Chicago, but I'm open. This is beautiful out here. The only problem for me is I wouldn't probably direct it or be on set because the altitude sickness is kicking me in the ass. So I shouldn't say that, but sorry.
And the oxygen bar is no longer here.
The oxygen bar helped out a lot, actually. And when I first came in, it was like I was in a different world. But I think somebody said you go to Denver first and stay there for a day, and so I feel much more invigorated.
Well, that's wonderful. Thanks so much for coming out here. Congratulations. I mean, I hope to see you here in 2014.
I hope so.
The awards. I'm sitting here with Angela Santos, winner of the Best Short Film Script Contest. Angelo, you didn't get a chance to say thanks to everybody, so why don't, has it been going in your head? Tell us.
I mean, I would actually love to thank the Vail Film Festival for actually putting on a short script competition, because there's barely any film festivals that do it. So for them to do it, it's great. It's great, and I'm actually very honored and humbled to receive the award. I was very surprised too.
Someone else? Anyone else to thank?
My mom, my dad, my producer Ruth, who's with me. She's my producer.
Okay. Well, everyone's been calling everyone out for forgetting people.
Okay.
Anyway, what do you think about the script? Captured anyone? What captured you about it, and what do you think people are reacting to from it?
I think it's funny, which thank God people thought it was funny. But I think because it's relevant. The script's about gay marriage, but not necessarily about the marriage, but about basically. So it's called Pamanhikan. It's a Filipino word. Tradition for when the parents of an engaged couple meet for the first time, and in my script, it's the couple's gay.
Right.
So the parents can meet for the first time, and the dads are not too happy about the situation, and one of the moms is not happy with this, with him marrying her son. So yeah, just all these things that happen when the parents meet, and it's funny. Thank God, people found it funny.
It's one of those classical culture. I was in there for some of the reading. They read it well, and it's really fun. It's one of those classical cultural things, that you have to deal with. So, speaking of that, now it's got so much feedback from everybody. You think you're actually going to be able to get this thing recorded? I mean, film?
Yes. Ruth and I, my producer, have been working hard on making it. We shot our Kickstarter trailer a couple weeks ago. I have a website about to go up soon.
Let us know about it.
Yes, I will, definitely. I will definitely let you know about it. So yeah, we're getting this rolling. I have my DP who I've worked on film with. His name is George Gibson. He's a really great DP. I have my editor who I've worked with also on board. So we're getting it done.
So real quick, tell us what do you think about the Vail Film Festival so far?
I think it's awesome. I like that it's small and intimate, and I'm meeting so many people. I've never been to Vail. I've never met. I don't know if you call them Vailians or I don't know. Coloradans. Yeah, I met so many Coloradans, and it's great. Just meeting the people, and actually the setting is where you actually get to meet people is great, and that's what makes it great. And I get to ski.
You got to ski. Was how
I haven't done it yet. We're doing that tomorrow.
Awesome. We're thinking about hitting the slopes ourselves too.
Yeah.
Have you skied before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but always on the East Coast. I've never skied the Rockies yet, so this will be a new thing for me.
Great. Well, Colorado is trying to incentivize filmmaking out here, tax breaks, funding, things like that. Maybe your producer's brother wanted to ask, but what would it take to get you guys to consider filming something in Colorado sometime?
I don't know. There's tax breaks. I love the country. Probably some altitude therapy for. I don't know how the crew or the cast could react to the altitude. So we'll figure that out first.
Well, fortunately, this is the higher. It's a lot easier in Denver and lots of parts of the state. So, but congratulations for toughing it out here. Any parting words you'd like to leave with us?
No, thanks, guys. Thank you, Vail Film Festival, for a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us. It's my pleasure, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm here with Bill, who works with the Vail Film Festival, and we just wanted to talk to him a little bit about the 10th annual festival and what he's thought of it so far. Bill, please tell us a little bit about yourself and what you've been doing with the festival.
Well, 10 years hosting the Vail Film Festival, which is kind of nice. Started off as a manager and then a programmer, and now all these years being a host. So my whole job is to make sure that everybody's drinking Stella and watching movies and having a good time. So it's a pretty rough gig.
It's a really rough gig. I can't believe you've been doing it for 10 years too. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the evolution of that, how it's changed?
Well, I started when I was just 20 years old, if you can believe that. No, not a true story, but I think that's probably the coolest thing about this festival is that we haven't seemed to have like the growing pains of having a year one festival and trying to make something. From year one, the community has just embraced us. I mean, we would sell out first year at our theaters, and it's just been, continual growth, which is really, really nice. So, but yeah, everything right here in Vail, great venues, great people, and hopefully we can be talking here again in like another 10, 20, 30 years. So
Easily. A lot of the people here at the festival are generally, international, including the filmmakers. Not very many local filmmakers. What is it? It seems to be a buzz in all the other festivals about the crowds here and the energy here that you kind of touched on. What's the selling point that you would tell to any other potential filmmakers to bring theirs to the festival?
I mentioned the free Stella, right? That's huge, but again, I think just with this being Vail and just the name itself, that people hear Vail and they say, okay, wow, that's got to be a pretty great place. We want to go there, and I think that's what gets our VIPs out here. Starting with our first couple of years with the Wilson brothers and Sophia Bush and Harold Ramis and all these folks, and so I think they want to come out here. They want to ski anyway. So I think a lot of the draw for people. We had over 1,000 submissions this year, and we had to wean that down to 42 films we could show, and we're still packed and running late and everything else. So, but I think just the name Vail helps us a lot. And then we take care of everything. If you're a filmmaker and you come out here, we're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure that you have everything you need, and a lot of people are going to see your film, and you're going to have a good time. Very important.
And when they say take care of you, they take care of us too as press. I just want to thank you guys so much for being accommodating to everyone involved with this festival, especially a couple of nobodies from Denver who decided to come out here and see what we could showcase. And so far, we've loved all the help that you guys are doing. So thanks from us to you guys too.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to say.
We couldn't do any of this without you folks supporting us. We've got a tremendous team of volunteers. I mean, we couldn't do it without them. But I'm a local guy as well. I'm just down the road in Parker, so we can take care of our own. Got to do that.
Good job, Bill. Well, hey, there's a Drinking Buddy movie, and we got to check that out, and then we got to be drinking buddies tonight.
We'll see you at the after party.
All right.
Cool. Thanks.
Jeremiah Zentz, Colorado Entertainment Showcase. That's a wrap from the Vail Film Festival.